The quiet and peaceful atmosphere of Enugu State was recently shaken, but this time it was by a massive wave of relief and victory for the law as the Enugu State Police Command carried out a highly successful and daring raid. Imagine waking up to the news that the very people causing sleepless nights, terrorizing highways, and making innocent citizens live in fear have been stopped right in their tracks. That is exactly what happened when brave police officers stormed a secret hideout and arrested 15 dangerous bandits who thought they could turn the beautiful coal city state into their private playground for crime. This was not just a random patrol, but a carefully planned operation that showed the power of good intelligence gathering and the unbreakable spirit of the Nigerian police force in the year 2026. For a long time, residents in certain parts of the state had been noticing strange movements, unfamiliar faces, and highly suspicious activities around the Agbani and Okunano areas. Instead of keeping quiet, brave members of the community whispered their concerns to the authorities. The police, led by top commanders and the anti-cultism tactical squad, listened carefully, studied the patterns, and patiently mapped out the perfect time to strike. When the time was right, they moved in with precision and superior firepower, catching the criminals completely off guard in a raid that will be remembered as a major turning point in the fight against insecurity in the region. When the police breached the walls of the hidden camp, the scene inside was both shocking and a clear reminder of the danger these individuals posed to the public. The 15 suspects tried to scatter and escape into the surrounding bushes, but the officers had already secured the perimeter, leaving them with absolutely no way out. The sheer professionalism of the officers ensured that the criminals were subdued without any harm coming to the innocent people living in the nearby communities. But the arrests were just the beginning of the discoveries. As the police searched the dark corners of the hideout, they uncovered a frightening stockpile of weapons that were clearly meant for destruction. They recovered deadly firearms, including pump-action guns, locally fabricated Beretta-type pistols, and dozens of live cartridges. Seeing these weapons laid out on the ground was a chilling reminder of the kidnappings, highway robberies, and violent attacks that these bandits had either already committed or were planning to carry out against helpless travelers and hard-working citizens. Taking these guns off the streets means that countless lives have been saved and the tools of terror have been permanently destroyed. The raid also revealed the dark fuel that drives these criminals to commit such heartless acts, as officers discovered a massive stash of dangerous and illegal drugs hidden right next to the weapons. The police recovered large wraps of a substance suspected to be cannabis sativa, alongside dozens of pellets of highly addictive crystal methamphetamine, which is commonly known and feared in the region. It is a known fact that these hard drugs are what these bandits consume to numb their conscience and gain the false, reckless courage needed to attack innocent families, kidnap people for ransom, and engage in violent shootouts with security forces. By seizing these drugs, the police did not just stop a group of violent men, they also cut off a major supply line of poison that ruins the lives of young people and destroys the future of our communities. The connection between hard drugs and violent crime has never been clearer, and taking both the weapons and the substances out of circulation is a massive double victory for the safety of everyone in the state. As we continue to follow these intense security operations and bring you the detailed stories of how our brave officers are fighting to keep our streets and highways safe, please take a quick moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on these very important updates. Your support helps us keep bringing you the truth about what is happening in our country today. This massive bust in Enugu is actually part of a much larger nationwide crackdown that has been unfolding throughout 2026, showing that the days of bandits having a free run are rapidly coming to an end. Just recently, the Enugu State Police Command released their weekly crime statistics, revealing that they had detained over 52 suspects in just a few days for offenses ranging from armed robbery to kidnapping. This shows a clear and aggressive pattern of policing that is making the entire state too hard for criminals to operate. The spokesman for the command, SP Daniel Ndukwe, has been constantly updating the public, assuring everyone that the police are not resting on their oars. The operational success we are seeing is heavily tied to this new strategy of enhanced intelligence gathering and a stronger bond between the police and the citizens. The criminals are finding out the hard way that they can no longer hide in the forests or blend into the communities because their neighbors are watching and the police are ready to act on every single piece of credible information they receive. When we look beyond Enugu, we see that the entire security architecture of Nigeria is actively dismantling the networks that support these bandits, because catching the fighters is only half the battle. Just weeks ago, operatives of the intelligence response team made a massive breakthrough when they tracked down and arrested the very people who supply arms and drugs to criminal gangs across different states. They captured a notorious local gun fabricator who had been in the business of making and selling AK-47 rifles and pump-action guns to bandits for years. By catching the men who make the guns, the police are cutting off the snake's head. In another brilliant operation, they intercepted a major drug supplier who was transporting hundreds of bottles of codeine, tramadol, and Indian hemp straight to bandit camps in places like Kaduna, Katsina, and Zamfara. These suppliers were using regular transport routes, hiding deadly ammunition inside bags of millet and concealing drugs inside commercial trailers. But the intelligence network in 2026 is sharper than ever. The coordinated efforts of the police and other security agencies are ensuring that whether a criminal is hiding in the northern forests or trying to set up a new base in the eastern regions like Enugu, they will be hunted down, exposed, and brought to justice. The results of this relentless pressure on criminal syndicates are bringing real measurable relief to everyday Nigerians who just want to live their lives in peace. Take, for example, the recent heartwarming news from Benue State, where police and tactical units launched a massive search and rescue operation after several worshippers were kidnapped during a church night vigil. Because the police applied sustained pressure, deployed their air wing, and raided multiple hideouts, the kidnappers were forced to abandon their evil plans, and the victims were successfully rescued and returned to their families without a single scratch. This is the exact same energy and commitment that the officers in Enugu brought to the table when they raided the hideout of those 15 bandits. When the police take the fight directly to the doorsteps of the criminals, it sends a powerful message that the forests and the highways belong to the people, not to armed gangs. It means that farmers can confidently return to their farmlands to grow the food that feeds the nation without looking over their shoulders in fear of being stopped by armed men in the middle of the road. The recovery of the crystal methamphetamine, or umpurumiri, is particularly significant because of the absolute devastation this specific drug has caused across various communities. For years, community leaders, parents, and traditional rulers have been crying out for help, watching helplessly as this dangerous substance turned brilliant young men and women into shadows of their former selves. These bandits do not just consume the drugs to carry out their wicked operations, they also serve as the main distributors, selling the poison to the local youths to raise quick cash and recruit new members into their deadly gangs. By busting this hideout and seizing these specific hard drugs, the police have effectively shut down a major distribution hub that was feeding the addiction crisis. It is a known fact that a mind destroyed by such heavy illicit substances is capable of committing the most unthinkable crimes without a single shred of remorse. Therefore, pulling these drugs out of the hands of violent criminals is a monumental step towards healing the land and protecting the next generation from falling into the dark pit of addiction and crime. The joy that erupted in the local neighborhoods when the news of the raid broke was truly a sight to behold, as mothers and fathers breathed a collective sigh of relief, knowing that the people actively trying to destroy their children's futures had finally been caught and taken away in handcuffs. The 15 bandits arrested in the Enugu raid are now facing the heavy consequences of their choices as they undergo strict screening and deep investigations. The police are not just stopping at the arrests, they are digging deep to find out who sponsored these men, who gave them the tips they used to target people, and where exactly they bought the weapons that were recovered. Every single suspect will be thoroughly investigated and then charged to court to face the full and uncompromising wrath of the law. This legal process is incredibly important because it shows the public that the justice system is working and that those who choose a life of terror will end up behind bars for a very long time. The Commissioner of Police has made it crystal clear that the command will continue to strike at criminal hideouts until every single bad element is flushed out of the state. He warned anyone who is even thinking of joining an armed gang, getting involved in cultism, or dealing in illegal drugs to pack their bags and leave the state immediately because the police are coming for them next. The message is simple and direct. Crime will never pay and the law will always win in the end. This massive victory in Enugu should serve as a massive encouragement to every single citizen reading or listening to the news today, because it proves that when the people and the police work together as a team, evil simply cannot survive. The police cannot be everywhere at the exact same time, which is why the eyes and ears of the community are the most powerful weapons we have against insecurity. If you see a group of young men renting an isolated house and keeping to themselves during the day while moving around suspiciously at night, it is your duty to report it. If you notice strange vehicles dropping off heavy bags in the middle of the night, you have to alert the nearest police station. The officers have promised to keep the identities of informants completely secret and safe, so there is no reason to be afraid. We all have a role to play in building the peaceful and prosperous country that we dream of. The brave officers who risk their lives every day to raid these dangerous hideouts are doing their part, and it is up to us to support them with our prayers, our cooperation, and our vigilance. This operation also highlights the heavy sacrifices made by the men and women in uniform who leave their own families behind every single day to confront heavily armed criminals in the most dangerous environments imaginable.